What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. If I'm live, I'm live. Welcome back to the channel for a quick live. Because it's a Friday, as we know, and a lot of people have better stuff to do on a Friday, and we play on a Sunday. The previews will be out tomorrow and Sunday, so stay tuned for that as well. And go check out the podcast I dropped with Julian earlier today. But in this live, I don't think we have done a live in a very long time that had anything not. I don't know when was the last time we did a live and it wasn't about previewing a game or talking about a game. It was probably when the Pogba news came out, about the doping and whatever you want to call that. I think that was the day. So it's a good 2 weeks now, because there wasn't really much to talk about rather than just the games we have been playing this season so far. But there is some news, or like news. It's a debate. It's something I think all saw on social media, all participated in talking about, and it's the right wing position. It's something me personally on this channel, like I personally have talked about for, I don't know, the last 3 weeks, especially of August, where I said, we were looking at players, and I was like, that right wing position, and I, I don't even I don't even want to call it right wing position in the type of football we play, in the setup we play, but let's say it's right wing position. I said we need something, because we only have Timothy Weah. Now, McKennie is playing well as of now, but he's not a right winger, and he doesn't offer you the things a natural right winger would offer you. I think that's extremely obvious. That being said, he is doing a job. It doesn't look terrible, whatever you want to call it, but it's still not, wow, that's a right winger, because he doesn't do things you expect from a right winger. And I mean with that, beating your man consistently, linking up play good, putting an assist, getting goals, being dangerous. That's still not McKennie, and that's not what McKennie will ever be. Could that be Timothy Weah? Maybe, potentially, but as of now, we haven't seen it. If you look at his career, like the numbers they don't back up the fact that he's gonna be a great winger now, or it has been a great winger up to that point. Basically, I will say that. I will rephrase it to that. Now, the debate is Soule and Berardi, because those are the two names that are kind of linked. Because on Soule, let's start with Soule really quickly. Because he's doing well at Frosinone. He got his first goal. I think he had an assist the previous game or the game before that. I'm not sure. But the point is, I said I wanted to keep Soule. But I've always added, you need to play him, and you need to play him to his best of his ability. Somebody told me, oh, we had no options right last season. That's why he played right wing back, and whatever you want to call that. That's complete bullshit. It is, because even if we have players, I've always said it's a setup. I put out a tweet. It's the freedom he gets at Frosinone. It's the idea behind you want to play. It's not about, oh, Quadrado was injured, so we needed to play. That was never the case. Same for Minetti next season. Is the idea behind you want to let a certain player play, basically. At Frosinone, they play a 4-3-3, basically. That's the idea they want to do. And you can see how freely he can move, Soule, at Frosinone. He kind of plays... he reminds me of Dybala more and more when I see him play at Frosinone, because he's very free. He drops in deep, picks up the ball, and whatever, links up play, comes to the middle. He does it all a little bit, and he's good. He's technically, he's excellent. I think we all knew that. That was very obvious when you see him play. That technically, he's a player that is very talented. He just has it. Period. He just needs to add it all up to become a complete player. I get that, and I see already people saying, "Oh, it's good that he went out and play." I agree with that as well. I'm not gonna say here that it wasn't a good move, but for us as a team, we don't have a right winger. We have Timothy Weah, and that's it. So it's an issue for us as well. Now, would he have stayed? Would he have performed as good? No, because like I said, you can play. Ealing Jr. away to Sevilla played left wing. He didn't play left wing. He played left back. That was a left back performance. That's what I said. It's the idea. Don't look on what the piece of paper says. Oh, he's playing right winger or left winger. Don't look at the piece of paper. Just use your eye test. And it's like Ealing Jr. away to Sevilla. He was playing that first half as a left back, period. He never crossed the midfield at all. And when he did, it was very composed and it was just a play back. So that's the Soule part. I would have kept him. Would that have been the best move for his career? Probably not. But I think along the the more games, the more months pass and days pass, I think it will become a bigger issue for us that we don't have somebody who is a natural right winger. And Weah's not one. McKennie is definitely not one. And if they are one, and when I talk about McKennie, then that's not the type of right winger I want. That being said, is it a mistake to let to have Soule not at the club? You can say yes and no, but keep in mind the club was actively trying to sell him. Nobody put in an offer because we want 20 million, and nobody was going to pay 20 million for a player that didn't had enough game time. And when he did, it was half the time sub in, and half of the time he couldn't have played his real game. He wasn't allowed, and a lot of players are not allowed. That's the situation at the club now. Is it a good move for his career? Obviously, I think that's extremely clear in the first 6 games that we played. It's extremely clear that it was the right move for his career because he's playing extremely well. He enjoys football. You can see that he's enjoying playing football, and that's important because if you enjoy something, you will play better automatically. I don't think a lot of players enjoy playing the type of football we play, and you can see that at the players who have more talent. Players who have less talent, they will enjoy this because it's very conservative, and I'm not going to name names, but you probably know what I'm going at. They'll probably absolutely love the way we play because it's very controlled, it's very safe, it's very errorless prone, basically, and it's very a lot of cover and all those things. A player like Soule, if you take that away, you take the joy away of playing football. Now, the excuse of at Frosinone there's no pressure is the biggest load of bullshit you will ever hear, and that's the weakest and the most easiest excuse you can make. He's doing well because at Juve is pressure. Okay, if you think that's the case, fine. Is there pressure at Juve? Yes, but not one person on planet Earth, not one Juve fan was looking at Soule and was like, "You're gonna need to drag this team. If you fail today, you're a flop." Not one person on planet Earth was putting pressure on Soule. So that excuse is just crap. It's obviously to, push the blame away from the obvious issues at the club. That being said, Soule is doing well. I would have kept him because I needed a right winger. That's all I'm saying. He will come back. I think he will come back. I don't think he will. I don't like if he plays like he's playing now and he keeps it up and it gets better along the way, because if he keeps this up, it will get better, because he will learn throughout this process and season. There's no way you can not bring him back when you look at the right wing and you just have Timothy Weah, because McKennie's not a right winger. But let's see how that will go. It's still very early. Now, second part of the video is Domenico Berardi, because we were linked with him up to a point where it was embarrassing that Carnevali needed to say certain things, and I was like, wow, what was even happening behind the scenes? And now he's dialing down, saying, it wasn't that good and whatever. It wasn't that close. It wasn't that deep. Blah blah blah. Now, I'm not going to be a hypocrite, and I'm going to stand by my point. I don't want Domenico Berardi at the club. If people remember the streams I did, I said he will get his numbers if he signs. He will get his numbers. Same as Kostic last season. I said people probably will not like the style of play he will produce, but he will get his numbers. That's what Berardi does. He will get his numbers no matter what. But I'm not going to be a hypocrite and be like, oh, he's scoring goals now, because he was scoring goals last season, the season before that, and the seasons before that. So that, like, there's nothing has changed. We need a right winger, but I personally don't want my club to pay 30 million euros for a player that will turn 30 and waited until he was 30 to make the big jump, when a couple of years ago he said, I don't want to compete. I just want to play. I want to play week in, week out, basically. I'm not in for competition. I'm like, and now you're 30, you think you're up for it. And I was like, no, I don't want these players at the club. I just don't want them. And yes, they will get goals. I get that. Fine. I've said it. But I don't want to spend 30 million euros on a player who is close to 30 and up to 2, 3 years ago was like, I don't want to do this, because then I need to compete to whoever is at the club. If you want to join a big club, if you want to play for a big club, there is competition. Not at us. At the moment, not with Juve. I get that, fine. But I was talking about a couple of years back. If you're not up for it, then you're not that guy. And you stay at Sassuolo, do your thing, and score goals for Sassuolo, be the main guy. All good. But I'm not going to flip-flop and change my opinion because he's scoring goals. Because he was scoring goals last season. So I think it's weird to now say, if you said, if in the summer you was one of those people saying no, now say, yeah, we should have done it. Because nothing has changed. We still needed that winger. We don't have that winger. He's scoring goals, and he was scoring goals. So nothing has changed, basically. It's very reactionary now that, we should have gotten him, and it's all a mistake. We should have gotten a right winger. I just wanted a younger one. And not Berardi for 30 million euros for so many reasons. But do we need a right winger? 100%. 100%, because as good as McKennie is performing for his standards, that's what I'm saying. Because when I talk about McKennie and saying he's playing good now, I'm saying it compared to his usual standard, not compared to the standard I want at this club, to a standard a top right winger should be playing, because that is not even close. For his standards, he's doing well, and that I will accept in terms of, I don't expect a lot of certain players. So if they perform at a good level for my expectations for those players, I will say that. Club-wise, big picture, it's still not good enough, and it's not even close, to be honest. So we need a right winger. That brings you to January. Are we going to sign somebody? Let's see if we're going to sign one. I think it's in the midfield, because if Pogba is actually done, we need a midfielder. I'm not counting Nicolosi, because I have no idea what he's doing at the club. Like, I've actually no idea. Is he sitting on the bench? Is he being called up? I'll keep saying it. I have no idea why he stayed. It just makes no sense for anyone at this point. But he did. But we need a midfielder. If Pogba's actually done, we need one, because one injury and we're kind of screwed already. So I don't think in January, if we go into the transfer market, we will do that to bring in a right winger, basically. I don't see how Sassuolo are gonna let Berardi go for a less amount of money mid-season when he is apparently scoring goals, which he was doing all those years. So I don't see that happening. That's what I believe. That's what I think, actually. Oops. Okay. Of course, we should sign Berardi. Soule is a great talent, but he needs time and work on his shot accuracy. He's still weak in this aspect. Yeah, he needs to improve. I think that's obvious. I think we knew that last season. All I want to see Juve play is a 4-2-3 with Meretti as number 10. I don't really want to see Meretti as number 10, to be honest. If I was Juve and had a reasonable budget, I would buy Tomiyasu and play 4 at the back. I want to play 4 at the back. I don't want to sign Tomiyasu. I'm not that guy. I like Tomiyasu. I think he's good, but nah, Like he's not a player I'm very excited for, to be honest. Nicolosi is a translator. Remember? Yeah, I saw that. I saw that. Couldn't believe that was actually a report, wild one. But at this moment in time, I feel like he is like the Pinsoglio type. Only he is a bit quieter. It's just he wanted to be here. He took his chance, but it's not a good thing for your career as of now. Neither would have really fit tactically in a 3-5-2. That was my next point I was gonna make. We could have signed Berardi. We could have kept Soule. They would not look this as the same players. They would not, because I was trying, like, that was my next point. But that's good, because that's what I wanted to say. Because at Sassuolo, Frosinone, Soule plays in a 4-2-3, and Berardi plays 4-2-3-1, something like that for Sassuolo. It depends, but like those are real attacking wingers. What we play are not. It's not even close. That's when I said, "Oh, Soule did that last season." No, they did. Don't look at the piece of paper with the lineup. Look at what happens during the games. We do not play like that. We don't. So I agree. Like, you would have brought in Berardi or kept Soule and you played him, it would have a different outcome, especially on the eye test. Maybe numbers wise, they will get there some way, but on the eye test, it will not look the same for obvious reasons, because we don't play that type of football. We don't play that formation wise, all those things. We don't do that. We need a ball playing center back badly. Allegri seems to give Danilo that responsibility, and it turns in Andrea Bocelli when passing the ball. Yeah, I think I'm getting that vibe as well, because it feels like Danilo's taking that responsibility upon him. I don't blame him for wasting possession, because you just can't. Same goes for Bremer, same goes for Gatti. They're not good playing it out from the back, consistently. They're not. At that point, I think whoever it is it Bremer, is it Gatti, is it Danilo? At that point, you're like, man, this is not looking good for me throughout this game. I'm just gonna stop. I'm just gonna play it simple, because this is not helping me look good. This is not helping the team. The only party it's helping, is the opponent. And Danilo against Lecce was atrocious in possession. Like, he was poor. Like, I rewatched the game until the 60th minute or 65 minute, and then I was done. To be honest. But up to that point, Danilo was extremely poor in possession. And do I blame him for being poor? No, because he doesn't have that quality. What I do blame him for is, at a certain point, you're like, okay, I need to stop, And I think he realized that way too late, because I think around the 70th minute, his pass accuracy and all those things went up, because I think he understood the memo, but it took way too long before he got to that point. And I don't blame any of those three to waste possession consistently, because they're just not good in possession. I don't want to bring in a defender. And I don't want to bring in a defender just because he's good in possession. He needs to be good, obviously. It's an added thing, but I want a defender to be good in defending. That's the most foremost. Let me see. Say goodbye to Samajic. You want someone to keep as untouchable key player. Yeah. So no news. You want to keep Rabiot. We knew that. We knew that we wanted to keep Rabiot. So you want to keep Rabiot. He's untouchable and a key player for Allegri, who's in a very good relationship with the midfielder, appointed vice captain. Juve are ready to open talks, try to extend his contract in the next week. Yeah, we knew that, but let's see. Because I think if anyone watched the podcast with me and Julian, today's one, and we talked about, should we blame the players, because Allegri, Chiesa made that comment that the coach wants us to play attacking football, pressing, whatever. He says one thing, and then he wants to keep Rabiot. We're linked to Højbjerg from Tottenham, and I'm like, you're not. If you keep these players, you're playing a certain type of football, but it's not what Chiesa said. Attacking, first touch, pressing, because at that point you're telling the players one thing, and you're bringing in the players who are not capable to do that. Um, let's see. I think it's still early. I'm holding hopes that it's done for Allegri at the end of the season, and then at that point it probably will be done for a couple of players. If we keep Rabiot on 7 million euros for 3 more years, and I need to look at that. And to be honest, when I watch Rabiot, I'm not like, oh my god, you are absolutely rubbish. I'm not saying that, but when the club is paying you 7 mil, and again, him taking the money, nothing against that, I would do the same thing. Like, let's not be hypocrites here. But when I see the club paying him 7 million and I see the performances, I'm like, what even is the point? Like, what are we trying to do here? That's my biggest issue, basically. Soule, Soule played behind the strikers a few times, if my memory serves, last season. Particularly if his injury showed great maturity. I think he played a good, yeah. I think he played, let's say, 4 games, 5 games, maybe. He played one game as an attacking midfielder, or like it wasn't really behind the attackers. I remember that Inter game. He was good in that Inter game, but I believe he played. I think he played a good 5-6 games as a second striker this season or last season against Inter. I thought he was good. Against Napoli at home, I thought he was okay. Up to a certain point. In that first half, he was the only player who was looking at, and I was like, okay, you're gonna add something to this game. So that could be, but when he played on the right, that was not freely as a right winger. I'm sorry, like that was just not it. Say goodbye to Samardzic. I don't even think we were in for him to begin with, but like any of those players, yes, I agree with that. Soule's role last season was ridiculous. He only started against big teams and warmed the bench for his club. He should have played 75 to 90 minutes. Yeah, and even against those big teams, like, he played well, but his first task wasn't really play. It was make sure the others don't play. When he came off against Napoli, Miretti took that role on for a good, 5-10 minutes before we made another sub. But that's my point. Like, you look on paper and you see Soule right winger, but when you watch the game, you're like, no. You saw against Sevilla Junior left winger. When you watch that game in that first half, you're like, yeah, he's not playing on the left wing, like left winger or whatever. He's not doing that. That's not even left wing back. That was just left back. Period. So I agree. I wanted the right winger, but in the 3-5-2. Let's see. I don't think it would have worked, or not to the extent like you think it would have worked. He had a harder show away to Cremonese when he played on the right. It was painful. I feel bad for him having to play there low. What were we talking about? I actually forgot. But yeah, that was actually what I wanted to talk about. If you haven't liked the video, like and subscribe. Live show will be back on Monday. Game breakdown, and throughout the week I will start doing more lives. I promise I'm gonna do that because I can see viewership are climbing up a little bit again, because we wasted a lot of lives the last couple of months because it was me solo. It's tough, but I'm trying to do that back again. My preview will not be live. I will pre-record that, drop that on Sunday, and tomorrow will be Julian's preview because we play Atalanta. Not really looking forward to that game, if I'm being completely honest. But let's see what Allegri has to say tomorrow. I think he has his presser at 1:30 or 1:45 my time. I need to check. It's one of those two, I think. So let's see what he has to say. Injury-wise, a reaction to purely saying we are the favorite for the Scudetto. He will probably pull the Uno reverse card there. But let's see. I will be back with a video, like actually recorded on the day itself, Sunday, for the match reaction, and hopefully it will be a positive, a good one, because we need 2 wins before the break. We need to beat Atalanta, we need to beat Torino to go into the international break, another international break, to come out of that with good spirit, others playing in Europe again, and you trying to take advantage of it. But that's it for me tonight. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys later this week.